Okay,
Mm-hmm.
listeners, we're back. We're back again with you. This is episode 129.
Right?
Along. I feel like this year might be our third year anniversary. I have to check I feel like it's May or June.
I feel like,
I think this might be the third year anniversary, so we'll probably think of doing something special, a special
yeah, that
episode
would be
for that
nice.
time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but yes, we're back again for a new episode, and let's just get into it. Kimmy,
Yes.
how was your week, friend? Let's check up and check in.
Yes. Well, my week was okay. Busy.
Okay.
Um, One of the lawyers that I work with is picked up quite a bit of work, and so it has become almost a madhouse. But
Oh boy.
getting through it, and you know what, to be quite honest, like, I like to be busy at work because it just helps for the day to go by quicker. But
Yeah. Sometimes you're like, woo.
right, it's like, I didn't mean this busy, like, relax. But but overall the week was okay.
Hmm.
It was all right. How about you?
It's good to hear. Yeah, like similar to you, it's very busy. Just like I think I've been saying, it's going to be like that for pretty much up until the
Mm-hmm.
end of February.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'm just trying to turn it around. Like when you're in a situation where maybe you're a little bit uncomfortable, you could just be like, "Well, this is what I'm going to get out of it." I always try and find
Exactly.
something I can get out of this situation that's like beneficial, and that's kind of what I'm doing to kind of just to be like Woosa.
Right, get through it, gotta get through it.
Just gotta get through it. So yeah, but other than that, yeah, everything's good.
Yeah, well,
Feeling
that's
good.
good. That's good to hear. Nothing to
Um,
complain about over here. Um,
no, not
on the
really. No,
hearts and minds. So this is a good week. This is a
this is a
good
good week.
week.
It's solid week. Okay, so before we jump into headlines, just a reminder: if you're listening in and tuning in, please go on to whichever platform you use to listen to the podcast. If you're wherever you're listening, if it's Apple, Spotify, Amazon, leave a comment or a star, a rating. Let us know what you think, and thanks for tuning in.
Yes,
Uh,
come check us out, man. Leave a comment. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, headlines. So, we're going to start with okay, we had some news this week in Canadian news. We're going to start local.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the news that Amazon is going to close all their warehouse. I think it's one main warehouse.
Yeah, but it's a big one
It's a big
too.
one, yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to close their warehouse in Quebec. If those of you who listen who are not from Quebec, or sorry, Canada, Quebec is where Montreal is, because you probably don't know
Mm-hmm.
Quebec, but you definitely know Montreal.
That's right.
So,
Yeah.
so Quebec is a French-speaking province that we have here. That's right next to Ontario,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so they announced this week that they're closing their Quebec warehouses and laying off, which will equate to laying off more than 1,700 workers.
Jeez.
Which is that's pretty big.
It's a large
The
number of people, especially when a town could be very small. Like, one town could
mm,
maybe be 10,000, 15,000 people. Like, do you know what I mean? To
yeah,
have that many people unemployed? Wow, it's a
but it's
lot.
actually you know what? It's actually I think there's like one main warehouse that you're probably talking about that's in
Mm-hmm.
that one they say it's in Laval, Quebec. But they're closing down in the next 2 months 7 operation sites.
Wow.
So one fulfillment center, two sorting centers, three delivery stations,
Mm.
and one extra large delivery station. And so which is equating to like I said over 1,700 employees that they have there in the province. So, um, on top of that, we know that on top of the regular full time employees, Amazon also does hire a lot of temporary and seasonal
Yeah.
employees. Those
Mm-hmm.
people, that's an additional 250 people.
Mm.
And they're all going to get whatever they're legally supposed to get as people that are who are being terminated. And so depending, I don't know the Quebec provincial rules, but like here you get compensated for every every week for every year that you worked at the company or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. Anyway, it says that Amazon says it plans to return to its third party model, which and they're trying to say, yeah, it helps small local businesses. And their third party model is something that they did before they opened the warehouse here. Is they hire smaller courier businesses to do the delivery. So the delivery, so these couriers will come to the warehouse and pick up the deliveries and send them out. So they don't hire their own employees to do the couriering. Supposedly, they were speaking to a everybody was blindsided. They spoke this
Mm-hmm.
CTV News, and they say that this woman says that she worked for Amazon for 3 years, and she got blindsided because the news crews were all outside of the workplace.
Mm.
And so they were doing unionization stuff has been happening. Like, I think they just finalized uni they did a unionization process at Amazon's DXT4 warehouse in Laval, Quebec. So 200 employees were unionized. So this is in one of their um,
Mm-hmm.
operations there. So not even all of them. One of the
Mm-hmm.
operations got unionized. And so once I read that, though, I was like, so
Well, Amazon, they don't want to unionize,
yeah, they
like
just
as
yeah,
a company on a
they've been
whole.
very vocal about that. Actually,
Yeah,
they're
they
not even
don't.
trying to hide it. Mhm.
No, they're very forthright, forthright, if you ask me, face the but they don't want to unionize, and so they're just pretty much okay. Well, you guys want to unionize? No problem. We'll just pull out. We'll just leave,
Mhm.
and that's what they're doing. And
They're trying to say it's in, but the thing that I don't think, well, obviously, I guess for their own PR they can't say it, but they're trying to be like, no, that's not it. We want to support we want to support small businesses. And we're
yeah,
like,
whatever.
come on, Amazon, let's who we talking about here?
But the
Well,
type
let's
of
not.
business that Amazon does, you could do
Mm.
both. Like, stop it. You could have your own deliveries and
Yeah, they and
small
a lot of the time they
businesses.
do. They actually,
Right?
especially here, like say
Especially
our market
yeah.
where we are
Hmm.
in Toronto or Ontario, where it's like like millions and millions of people. Yes, they most definitely use third party vendors. I had one of my family members was working for one of those companies that were
So
contracted by them.
miss me with the whole helping out the small businessman. That's a
Hmm.
bunch of bull. That's just an excuse. I think when a company strays away from this strays
Hmm.
away from unionizing, it's because they have a lot of infractions. They
Hmm.
have a lot of things that could actually put them out of business.
Yes.
And so I think Amazon has tried to stray away from unionization only because then the whole business will have to be reevaluated, especially when it comes to human rights and so on and so forth. And certain things won't be able to fly. I've heard a lot of nightmare stories about people who have worked for
Yeah.
Amazon.
Hmm.
Just going to the washroom is like a big deal, so and that's just not ethical in terms of human rights and all of that. So I see Amazon just doing this because they're like, you know what, okay, you guys are getting too close up in our business. We don't really want to abide by the rules here, so we're going to exit stage left. It doesn't
Mm.
matter how many people are going to lose their jobs. You guys pushed, well, now we're out, bye, basically.
Yeah. And so obviously Canadians are upset.
Rightfully so.
Particularly people in the Quebec that
Yeah.
because this is people in their community that are going to lose their jobs. And so a industry minister Francois Philippe Champagne came out and made a statement and said that they need to be accountable because remember when outside companies come to Canada, and it's the same when outside companies go to the US or states, go to a particular state, you usually have an agreement with the local government that you're going to have promises, you're going to do this, you're going to have how many jobs, you're going to have how many,
Yeah.
and in return you get what you call concessions.
Mhm.
So the minister was saying that that they got concessions for border services. 'Cause remember,
Mm.
they're going back and forth across the border with shipments.
Mhm.
Several of these contracts were worth more than 5 million each to deal with facilities management in the locations. And so it's like this is a
Mhm.
mess. And he says we're standing up. I can tell you they were quite surprised. I think we had more than 1 million views on the letter that he made to public letter that he made to Amazon, and saying that this is about treating Canada with respect. I'm even less pleased than I was yesterday. And also public service ministers that Yves Duclos said that it's not acceptable to punish workers. Essentially, long story short, our government, federal and provincial over there in Quebec, is like, hey, now Amazon,
Right?
like, and obviously they're trying to pull it back. But the headline on this article said, you guys are giving, they're putting, Canadian government is putting pressure, but they don't plan on, they're staying true, they're not budging,
Yeah.
right? The decision has already been made, right? But it does leave kind of a bad taste, I guess, in other provinces in the country. So
But this
I
goes
would
to
say,
show that big
mhm.
business will say whatever the hell they need to say to
Mhm.
get themselves set up in your country or in your town or your city. They're going to say whatever they have to say,
And I
right?
think
And so
everybody, go
they
ahead.
said whatever they had to. Now they're like, okay, you guys, you're asking, you want too much from us, so we're just gonna. Amazon is a type of company that they can pull out, and it really won't affect the bottom line.
Well, I'd be interested to know that because they're so against unions. I wonder if when they make these arrangements with whichever country that they're going to set up shop, if they make arrangements to be like, well, listen, I know you guys may have some, like, Canada is very, I would say, more pro union than not. Well,
Mm-hmm.
in past years, I don't know about in days, but in past years they've been pretty, what I would say, unions get have some sway. Let's just put it that way. I
Yeah,
don't think
they
they have a
do.
lot of sway, but they still have some sway here.
Well, it depends on
How
the industry, but
and
yeah.
it does heavily based on industry. But I wonder if Amazon is so against it, when they come in, do they put something in the agreements to be like, listen, we know you guys might be in this union business, but we're not into this union business, like to that point where it's like,
Hmm.
so like you say, it's like, was Canada bamboozled or were they not? But
Um, uh, from this situation, how it
yeah,
appears to me is though
yeah,
Amazon was not, they were not bamboozled.
mhm,
They knew what was coming down the pipeline. They kind of knew that the people were. You see, that's the thing, is that it's the people that work there, right?
yeah,
So if you have 1,500 people, protesting for a
mhm,
union, then you're kind of forced to at least hear them out,
yeah,
right? And especially when 1,500 in one area or one warehouse is a lot of people. That's a lot of people to not work one day, right? So I think they knew it was coming down the pipeline. I think they knew that they were going to have to draw out of Quebec. They were going to have to leave. Um, I see that, in Quebec, I think they needed the big business.
yeah,
So I think Quebec was more willing to turn the cheek to whatever nonsense was going on behind the scenes that they probably were aware of,
mhm,
but they needed big business. Amazon is a big business. Look how many different warehouses we're talking about.
yeah. I
Like
have a question. I have a
1,700
question.
people is a lot of people to employ. That's a lot of people, right? So that's even more than like some companies that are Canadian based, like that are from Canada, So um I don't know. It would have been nice to be a fly on the wall in that meeting. To be quite honest, it would have. But I could see Amazon doing whatever they had to do until it came to a point where they're like, okay, well, we're done here.
Yeah, because if you see how, because there's only one other facility in the whole of the United States, and that's in Staten Island, New York. they had to fight tooth and nail. And
right?
even now, and that this was only recent, in the last couple of years, I think that went through. So we don't know. Who knows? I think Staten Island is just too big. That facility in Staten Island, which probably services the whole of New York or most of New
Right?
York, that's probably more risky for them to do to shut down than
Exactly.
in a
But
Quebec.
knowing that right next door to Quebec
Mhm.
is Ontario,
Yeah.
right? And we listen, they have a whole damn street.
Mhm.
They have, no, honestly, I saw the whole construction of that, man.
Mhm.
Down on like Old Finch area.
Mhm.
They have a whole street. They took up an entire street, city block, to
Mhm.
make different they have a processing center. They have like what they their own post office, I guess, kind of thing, or I would say delivery
Mhm.
courier center. Like it's big business we're talking about here, and so I could see why Quebec kind of turned the cheek and or turned their head, like, we don't see what you're doing. And I could
Yeah,
see Amazon
because
saying, you know what, we're going to
mhm.
do it to the bitter end.
Mhm.
And they just said, you know what, we're not going to fold to another protest from employees. We're not going to fold because if they start it, look at the progression. It started out in Staten Island. You said, was it Staten
Mhm.
Island?
Staten Island, yeah.
And now it's in Quebec. Before you know it, you're going to catch wind. It's a trickle effect. Because
Yeah.
once Amazon does it for one, they're going to have to start doing it for all, right? Because you draw back on that experience where, oh well, look, you unionize them over there. Why can't you unionize us? Well, Amazon's saying, you know what? We'll just stay in Ontario then.
Yeah, that's the thing, because that's what my question for you before we move on. And
Hmm.
honestly, prayers up for those who have lost their
Yes,
employment.
yes,
It's
because
always
that's going to
tough.
affect their economy. It will.
Because one thing I do know is, yeah, Amazon shutting. So they're shutting down. They're shutting down.
Yeah,
These-
and they're shutting down, and like a thief in the night, they're just going to leave just
Yeah, and I
so.
think that's what people are feeling. But I mean, normally these things, you're not really. The signal was the fact when you unionize, that was always a risk. So here's my that brings me to my question.
Mhm.
So if you're, say you're somebody there, you have a role, or you're like the head of the people trying to get your team unionized and get better wages,
Mhm.
working conditions, and everything in between, knowing that that's a risk, do you still do it, knowing that this particular company that is a high risk, even though it was one, maybe here's my thing, maybe because it was just one facility doing it, they
Mhm.
thought, oh, it's just one. But the thing is, we all know will lead to a domino, because the other facility where they're like, wait, they got it, we want it too.
Right? That's what
But
I'm
no, so
saying.
knowing that it's a risk,
Yeah.
would you be for or against unionization, knowing that this is your job, you're like, this is what it is for now, what is it, is it worth it?
Right. And I always say unionization is key
Yeah.
because, it's the everyday man and woman that need to be protected,
Yeah.
right? So I know we're talking about big business and all, but big business is the little guy that makes big business turn.
Yeah.
So if you don't have somebody picking the orders, if you don't have somebody entering the orders, the delivery guy that drops off the packages, if you don't have that, essentially it's all just a great idea.
Hmm.
It's not an actual business unless you have the everyday man taking up those positions, right? And when I say man, I mean man and woman. So let's
Yes.
just put that out there. But however, in this situation, union because Amazon is so big, here's my problem with most big companies is that they know that they're big enough where you can be discarded and they'll get someone new,
Yeah.
right? And that's the problem that I have, right? Because people, you need these people. You need them. So you don't have a business without them. So don't treat them like they're trash or yesterday's news. They're not. They're very important to the overall business. Now, Amazon, Jeff Bezos, he's a rich ass. You understand? This man is billions on top of billions that he can never spend in his lifetime.
Oh no, nope,
Not even his great grandchildren can spend that type of money that he has.
nope.
Okay? So why not give it to the people that actually matter in your overall business? Having, these higher heads, this person and that person, and listen, it's the everyday guy that needs to be protected. So I believe in unions.
Hmm.
I believe in unions. I believe that unions, if it's a good union, can
Yeah.
be a great thing to an employee, and not always a great thing to an employee. But I always believe that there should be one there, because these big businesses will take you for granted. They will take you for granted. They'll give you poor work environment to work in. They will run you ragged. Okay. And if you dare open your mouth and complain, they will toss you out like yesterday's trash and fill your spot. And I'm sorry, maybe that's the passionate heart in me. I think that's wrong.
Mm.
I think that's wrong because you know what, Jeff? If you didn't have people that were hardcore um, for your business, right, and believed in you and worked their ass off for you, you wouldn't be in this billionaire status that you're in right now. Let's call it a buck. I know you know, um, it's all fluffy and great to say what I'm saying, but it's the
Hmm.
truth, right? And so if we don't, you know, um, look at the quality of hard work and how that can build a business. Because if everybody were to say, you know what, we're just gonna walk off the job, then what happens? Right? So they're important. And I do believe that a union is important. And I think Jeff Bezos is doing a lot of nonsense behind the
Mm.
scenes. I think he's treating his staff like shit behind the scenes. You know
Oh
what I
yeah.
mean? And that's not okay. That's not okay. It isn't. So Jeff Bezos, I remember a bit of uh, not a biography on Amazon, but how
Hmm.
Amazon came to be.
Hmm.
And Jeff Bezos was the one that was delivering packages in his own damn car. So he knows what blood, sweat, and tears
Oh
from
yeah.
that level.
The start of that business is very interesting. Like started from the bottom for real. Yeah.
So how do you now step on those people that you yourself had to fill that job? Why? For money?
Mm.
Like I understand the money makes the world go round. Like don't like I'm not delusional here, but in the same breath, it's people that make the world go round, right?
Mm.
So like you can't treat people like that. And I think that he's gotten to a point where he's so up into the clouds, he's trying to, I don't know, build a house on Mars or something.
Mm.
Okay, he's so up in the clouds that he doesn't remember the delivery driver. He doesn't remember the guy that sorted out the packages. He doesn't remember. He's so far removed to the point where now he's treating those people who he's put in those places like crap. And I think, a union in a company, it does more than just protect the people. It shapes up that company because there's certain things that can't go on when you have a union. There's certain standards that you have to maintain.
Hmm.
You don't have a choice. You could be shut down permanently if you don't. So, I mean, there has to be checks and balances in place. So, I believe in unions. What do you think?
No, it's not about believing in unions. It's just like the reality is, in theory, of course, I'm here for like, of
Yeah.
course, yeah, it's for the people, it's for workers. If I could be a part of a union, and of course, but the reality is, in the modern day, they have been slowly going
Yeah,
away.
they don't want to deal with them because it's become capitalism on steroids.
It's on steroids, right? So basically, what my question is more like, would you take the risk, knowing that you're
Um
likely had a high, like, yeah, that's
if I
more
was
what
in
I'm
a
saying.
high position, if I
Mm,
really believed in it, yeah.
yeah. Okay, there you go. And here's my answer. I also would say yes, and because we know these people are not in a high position, like that's
Yeah,
because that's
right?
just the nature, right? So
Mhm.
people who usually are in unions are people are in a role that is you're
Labor
in
intensive usually.
labor intensive and uh kind of like they rotate people out. They treat people
Mhm.
more disposable because they're like, well, we could bring somebody else here, train them on the system and the process,
That's
and
right.
keep it moving. So it's kind of like they have a rotational door of employees or talent, right? So
Mhm.
they are usually in roles or organizations where they feel like they can just bring anybody else in and train them up and keep it moving, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why they're always at risk, and that's why they're more likely or more it's more required or more essential for somebody in that those kind of jobs to have a
Mhm.
union to protect them, right? Because
Mhm.
these companies usually treat these people like more like disposable talent.
Mhm.
So yes, I would fight for it because you know at the end of the day, hey, there's going to be another company that needs somebody to do something. So it's hard,
Mhm.
but it's like to your point, it's something that's worth the risk,
It
right?
is. It is worth the risk because sometimes you might, actually do good for not just yourself, but your coworkers or people that you
Exactly.
manage or
Hmm.
supervise or whatever. You're making a better work environment, right? And
Yeah.
so, when you're on the floor picking orders, you want to be in a good work environment. You
Mm.
That type of manual labor and
You're already
job
doing
is
hard
hard.
work. At least need
Exactly.
something a little bit more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at the very least, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't even so much what I was hearing, all the horror stories for Amazon. It was how they were being treated, like going to the washroom or
Yeah. They have
uh,
times to go to the
what do you
washroom.
mean? That's a human right,
They have the pace that they set for them is very fast.
right? Like
So it
almost robotic fast,
yeah, yeah, exactly.
right? Which ties into a lot of other things. But anyhow,
You're
um,
right.
right? So
Okay, so prayers up for those
yes.
who lost their jobs in Quebec. Hopefully, hoping you land on your feet. All right, so our next topic was okay, so this week we had the inauguration.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump's inauguration happened, and Lord God, what a bunch of shenanigans.
Right? Just full of them.
Full of shenanigans, and a lot of people decided to opt out
I
of
did. Mm-hmm.
watching or consuming anything that was going on at the inauguration because they already knew there
Mm-hmm.
was going to be some clown shit.
Yep, sure was.
And so there are a
And
few
Snoop
things
Dogg
happened.
was ahead of the clown show.
Oh shoot, did we talk about this last week? I think
Somewhat, a little bit, yeah.
I think we talked about this last week, so we'll leave that the Snoop Dogg and Nelly thing because
Hmm. But they were
we
a
are
part of the shenanigans, if you ask
they
me.
definitely are part of the shenanigans
Mm-hmm.
that was going down during the inauguration. So I think first let's just start with the opening ceremony of people walking in. Melania's outfit,
Mm-hmm.
Melania and also JD Vance's wife was
Mm-mm.
dressed by Oscar de la Renta, House of Oscar de la Renta, and they were being dragged online.
Yep.
The fashion house.
Yep.
I mean, hey, because it was custom. It wasn't like they went to the store and bought Oscar de la Renta, right? They were fitted by Oscar de la Renta, which is I think a difference. So that's because you on one hand it's like, hey, it's not their fault that the people decided to wear their brand. Hey, don't come after us. But they were styled and fitted by the actual fashion house. So there's that hat and the crazy hat that she's wearing. The smooth I call it the smooth criminal hat or the
I
ham
know.
or the hamburglar hat. I don't know if
Right?
anybody
The
remembers
Hamburglar hat. I'm gonna go with that one.
back in the days McDonald's had a character for the called the
Mm-hmm.
hamburglar and he had this look I don't know whatever you want to call it but
He looked like a prisoner in black and white jumpsuit with a black hat, and he used to sneak around corners and stuff like that and try to scare the kids. And she did look scary. Yeah, she sure did. I don't
She was
like that
very
woman.
severe,
I
and
don't
I
like
mean,
Melania.
there's on
I don't
one.
think she's a pretty woman. I'm sorry. I'm just
Well,
gonna call a spade a
she's
spade.
54 years old,
Yeah, but there's other women that are 54 that look, beautiful.
and she's also Eastern European. And
Well, that
Eastern
says a
European
lot.
women are a little bit on the serious side. The
Yeah, hard
disposition.
in the face kind of thing.
Oh God.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna call it a spade. I'm sorry. I've worked with, Russian, Polish. I've worked with, Middle Eastern, and the women have this resting bitch face that it's like, can you change that, or is that like, is there anything you could do about that? Because
Sometimes you can't. You can't face if you have resting bitch face. That's hard. It's a thing to live with.
it is, and there's times where I have one too, right? And I get that,
Yeah.
but
Hmm.
it just looks like it's permanent on her.
Mm.
Like I never saw what people saw in that woman. I never thought that she was attractive. I
Wait.
think she's gotten a
Mm.
lot of plastic surgery, you
Mm.
know.
I don't even remember what she looked like when she was young. I'm just used to seeing her now. I
Yeah.
don't know what he looked like. What she looked like when he
Well, I
married her.
went back to pictures when Trump was in office the first time, and she's
Mhm.
aged.
Oh yeah, I was. Yeah, of course.
Nobody, yeah, you can really see it. You can
so
see the age
so
on her more than you see it on Trump.
so
Straight.
the hat was actually made by a guy named Eric Javits, and it was shielded her eyes as her husband was sworn in, and as well as with I don't know if you saw the viral video when as Trump went to go kiss her after
Yeah,
entering
I
into the
saw it.
Capitol, and he had to do an air kiss because that hat was like blah blah
Right?
blah. It was
Back up.
blocking on all angles, which just continues to feed on the trope that Melania cannot stand her husband Donald Trump. So that was the joke with seeing that hat. Actually, I think it was only I said something about Oscar de la Renta doing
Mhm.
her outfit. I don't think they did the outfit. Oscar de la Renta did JD Vance's and his wife outfit, not Melania. So correction there. And then also the pastor, the reverend, when they were doing the benediction prayer.
One second, but with Melania, I'll say
Mhm.
this: if I
Yeah.
can't see your eyes, I find you hard to trust. So
Mm,
when I can't see someone's eyes, I find you hard to trust. The
yeah.
fact that you're trying to shut down your eyes on purpose, like so people can't see your actual reaction, yeah, I don't trust you.
Yeah, but we know that she can't like let's put ourselves okay, let's pause. Let's put ourselves in Melania's shoes, Kimmy. Let's put ourselves in her shoes. She got married. She wanted to be a sugar baby to a businessman.
Uh huh.
This man got her. Now he goes in 2016 and somehow wins the election. And fast forward to this year, up into this point, and he wins again. She's just like, listen, she's under constant scrutiny by the press. It's like, I just wanted to be a rich housewife. Now they have me up in these places, cameras in my face, analyzing every move I make, and it's like, get me out of here. And
Yeah,
I
but
feel her.
so she's crying in a Bentley. Like, please.
Yes, yes,
But that's
pretty
the
much.
thing. You're crying in a Bentley. Okay, so relax.
Mm,
I'm sorry. Like I don't know. I'm finding it
I don't
harder
feel
and
s I
harder
don't
to
feel
feel.
sorry.
Yeah, sorry
I'm
for
not
rich
feeling
people. Like I'm
no, I'm
having a
not
hard
feeling
time.
sorry for her at all because she can leave. I mean, I know there's a lot of pressure for her if she did try and leave that it would be, but I think if she really wanted to leave, I don't think they're chaining her into a basement.
No,
But
and when he was in office the first time, she did the bare minimum. The
yeah.
bare minimum. Okay? So if she really wanted to, she could just I don't want to do it.
Mhm.
Like this is not, the royal family or anything where you kind of your blood is tied to this or something. No, she could just say she doesn't want to do it.
Mhm.
And that be it. And that be it. So, like this is the, I guess, epitome of being a sugar baby. Your man is leading a whole country. Like,
Mhm.
I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I just don't like her. Like, I don't like her. I don't know why I don't like her specifically. I feel like she's shifty and shady. I feel like she really doesn't like America.
Mhm.
There's parts of me that feels that way. Like, she really doesn't like America, but this is where her husband is, and this is where, the sugar daddy is gone, so she's
Yep.
gonna follow the sugar
This is where
daddy.
the sugar daddies are.
Follow the money.
Yeah.
She's following the money, but she doesn't seem like she's, you know, she has to spend quite a bit of money to feel comfortable. That's that's how she seems.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, I didn't like her
So,
hat. I don't like how I can't see your eyes. I don't care if you're under scrutiny. Your man decided to line up for this again. I guess, you don't have any say in your marriage.
of course not.
Oh, okay. Well then, you know, take the money and hush up.
Hmm. Which I
You
think
know.
she's hush, but she's definitely
Yeah, but now
can't
you're trying to be a
hide
trickster with this smooth
the,
criminal hat.
the
Like, what the
smooth
hell?
criminal hat. Yeah, so
You
there's
know?
that. Then there was
Yeah.
yeah, so like I was going into the pastor Lorenzo.
Yes. Oh god.
Oh Lord, yeah, Pastor Lorenzo Sewell,
Yeah, I wasn't
who,
impressed.
because
Mm-mm.
again, the inauguration day happened on Martin Luther King Day, which is a holiday, a public
Uh-huh.
holiday in the United States to honor Martin Luther King Jr. And
No coincidency there. None at all.
very sus, very very sus. And so he went on to do a benediction that incorporated a lot of the "I Have a Dream" speech. I only seen a few seconds of the clip because it was just so cringe. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I cannot. I just looked at
Right?
some photos of his face. I was like, oh Lord, what is this man doing? And pretty much he was roasted by black social media users, of course, for it being very
Yeah.
being coonish, performative. Um,
Very.
and it was even worse because you could see some of the people who were surrounding him, like JD Vance and some of the
Okay.
officials behind him that were kind of like, "What the hell
Mm-hmm.
is this guy on about?" Like, it's so interesting. Um, I guess he wanted to take this spotlight and really put on a show, but all he did was what people felt was mock the meaning of that speech. And so one of the Twitter users, X users wrote, Lorenzo Sewell chose MLK to mock Martin Luther King Jr. on worldwide television at the close of a presidential inauguration. Not sure I've seen a more shameful display. And another person saying, Pastor Lorenzo Sewell, I hope I never reach your level of coonery.
Right?
So a lot of people were embarrassed by it, but it's interesting if you were to look at some of the the right leaning news. You're like, oh, this is amazing. Da, 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 da.
Hmm.
This is a veil, people. My
Of
opinion,
course.
my point of view. But it was just embarrassing to see.
It
So
was. I
that
watched
was
it.
another thing. And
It's
then
the
the other
one
big,
few things I saw. Mm-hmm.
yeah, a big other thing was what's his name? Elon Musk, Tesla dude, doing the Nazi salute. Supposedly he didn't do on
Hmm.
purpose, but he did it twice.
Yeah.
Um, so it was just a lot of shenanigans, and it's proving that's why it's good that we didn't watch it.
Right? Because I couldn't. So when I saw clips of this Reverend
Hmm.
Sewell's, whatever, Lorenzo, I
Hmm.
was I was happy for two reasons.
Hmm.
First, that I didn't watch it.
Yes, it validated you for not
Yup,
watching.
sure
Yeah.
did. And second, that this man get roasted until he can't get roasted no more. When I saw the pieces of his sermon, or the benediction he gave,
Mhm.
I was thoroughly disgusted. I was thoroughly disgusted because I couldn't believe the coonery that I was seeing. You know, it's at a new level of croonery. Like, and on MLK Day, like, really,
Mm.
really. So we really have to stick into the coonery on MLK Day, really? Like, I was, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Glad I
they're
didn't
saying
watch.
that I saw the ratings. So they're saying that they said for the inauguration day, Trump had 24.6 million viewers tuned in. And that is, believe it or not, about approximately 9 million views less than Biden.
Oh,
So
mm,
when Biden was sworn in, they had more views. However, it was still a big number. That 24.6 million on TV in this day and age of 2024, that is a lot.
right. But Reverend wasn't alone with his coonery.
Mm-hmm.
There was a whole lot of other coons that were there too. And I'm using such harsh words because these are the same, like, some of these people, I don't know about the
Mm-hmm.
Reverend there, but some of these people that were doing the coonery just a couple years ago were disgusted by Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and calling out and saying all sorts of things about him. And now, fast forward, and you're at his inauguration performing. And, you know, I just, I'm really glad I did not watch the whole thing because I don't
Mm-hmm.
think I could have stomached it.
Yeah.
To see, you know, the flippage, and it's not even just amongst black people,
Yeah.
okay? Like,
The
Mark
tech.
Zuckerberg, like,
Yeah.
he despised Donald Trump,
Mm.
okay? And now all of a sudden you're throwing him a bone with the DI, what is
Mm-hmm.
it, DEI, removing that and stuff like that. You're throwing him a bone, and so for me it was like, even the coonery amongst them, like, just not that long ago you were saying
Yeah.
he was this, that, and
That's
the
coonery.
third,
That's coonery too. So yeah, we're gonna put
right?
that in
And
the
now look
coonery
at you,
category.
you know. Now you want to be at his inauguration, like, miss me with it, like, it all boils down to dollars and cents. That's what it says. That's what this is saying to me. People can be bought.
Mm.
You know what I mean? They're bought, and they're okay with it. That's the sad part, I guess, that I'm thinking of, is that people are okay with being bought. You know, Mark Zuckerberg is trying to make sure he gets in right nice with Trump. You know,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
he, you know, wants to be able to do what he wants to do, but in order to do that, he has to deal with Trump, the one that he's
Yeah.
been talking about for years that he can't stand. So it's very funny how all of a sudden
Very
now
funny.
you can stand him. But okay, right? Mm-hmm.
Was there anything else that you saw that was inauguration shenanigans?
Um, I saw a clip of Snoop Dogg,
Okay.
and I switched it real quick, because
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to see that. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to see that because, I mean, I know that Snoop is all about a bag. Like,
Yeah,
he's always been about a bag,
yes.
right? It's just, when you see your own selling you out, it just
Cuz he's the unk of the culture.
right?
He's the uncle. He's unk. He's Uncle Snoop. And so Uncle Snoop is
It
a sellout.
just right.
Uncle Snoop is a sellout. We gotta live with that. So yeah, I'm gonna see. I'm gonna be interested. I think he's gonna be fine, but I am kind of surprised because we talked about this that some people are really holding into the fire more than I thought they would. But again, I think it's gonna. I don't think it's Chrisette Michelle levels, and I
Oh,
think Chrisette Michelle wasn't big enough to get over that. But Snoop is big enough
well,
to get
let me
over this.
tell you, Chrisette Michelle, you need to come the hell back out. You need to drop a song immediately.
She needs to
And you
drop
need
a
to call
song.
out all of these you need to call out all of these damn people. You
Girl,
hear what I'm
you
telling you,
need to
girl?
do this,
You
okay?
need to drop a song, like, now. Like, this week, okay? Because you need to call out all of the cooneries. You need to call out all of the things that they did to you and how your career took a dive. You need to call it. Where is the song, girl?
Mhm.
We need a song. Please and thanks. Okay? Because this right here, okay. This right here,
Yeah,
Snoop has been on several records showing that he cannot stand Donald Trump.
I think that's what's making this harder to swallow because otherwise you'd be like, okay, Snoopy's about money. If somebody has money for him, listen, wasn't he the one advertising some smoke stove, I don't know, outdoor smoke stove when he did that publicity stunt to say he's not smoking no more or something like that, and it was for some random product where I was like, why the hell? I mean, I hope they paid him like $20 million to do this shit because what? Um,
Right?
so. So that's what it is.
Ugh.
So we'll move on from those shenanigans.
Yes.
Since something that happened on the same day was the it was MLK Day as we mentioned, and so there was some other shenanigans going on that day besides the inauguration, and that was a couple of people on social posting superimposing themselves in
Stupid
pictures
ass people.
with MLK. And so it was like an AI generated image. So first Sexy Red, and then there's comedian Carlos Miller. So it started with Sexy Red posting a picture of herself standing in front of uh, MLK, and it looks like he's looking at her. I don't know. Well, it looks like he's looking at her. And it doesn't actually really look that explicit. It's just because she's standing there and she just got a breast job, so I guess it looks provocative. But so his daughter, Bernice King, put up a post that said with the photo and said that this is intentionally distasteful, dishonoring, deplorable, and disrespectful to my family, my father, who is not here because he was assassinated. She reminded us Bernice
Mm-hmm.
King reminded us he was assassinated for working for your civil rights, civil and human rights. So please delete. Ouch.
Right?
Ouch.
Justfully
So
so.
so respectfully though, I mean, Sexy Red. Oh no, you know what's an image? But the image is actually them play like box like fighting each other. I just saw the full AI clip video clip. They're standing there and it's like he's like hitting they're doing like hitting each other. Interesting. I just saw the photo. Now I was on X and I just saw the full thing. That's crazy. I'm sorry. Yeah, Sexy Red needed to apologize for that bullshit. So anyway, Sexy Red came online and decided to respectfully, I think she came on and she apologized.
Mm-hmm.
So she said, "You are not wrong. Never meant to disrespect your family. My apologies. Just reposted something I saw that I thought was innocent."
Yeah, bullshit, girl. Get out of here, man. I
And
can't stand
so,
that woman. Um,
and following that, Carlos Miller decided to jump on a train. Carlos Miller is a comedian, very popular online as well. And he fed off of that and said, "Don't let Bernice see this one." And it's just a superimposing like Carlos Miller standing beside him and putting his arm around his shoulders. And so people were pissed at him for like, you already done see the lady. Bernice King is not playing about her daddy. She's
mm-hmm.
not playing about her daddy. So why trample on it? And so he uh just
But my question is, when did it become acceptable for us to disgrace and demean
it's not
our
because
heroes?
honestly people
I'm
were
over it. Like, bump all of this nonsense. Like, this is ridiculous. These are heroes that helped us
there was
get
nobody
to where we
really
are right now. And you have the audacity?
mhm. Everybody because people think everything's funny but honestly nobody was really with that, so everybody was like, yeah, I mean, Sexy apologized, took it down
Yeah,
right
but you know
away.
what? Here's the thing with Sexy Red, right? That why I'm harder on her because this is not the first time people have tried to do this to MLK. This is not the first time. People have done this in the past. They've been called out by his daughters,
Hmm.
okay, his family. People, I don't understand when it became cool to disrespect the heroes that brought us to this day. to brought us to this point. When
Mhm.
did that become cool? When did that become something that, oh, is funny? Because I don't find this funny. I find this disrespectful. It's disgusting, right? And I know Sexy Red knew it was wrong. She knew that was wrong.
Mhm.
But she'd rather make a quick buck than to say, you know what, let me have a little class.
Mhm.
Okay, like we know you're gutter and shit. We know that that's your whole brand,
Yep. Yeah,
being
we're gonna talk
gutter.
about that.
Okay,
Yep.
that's your brand. I
Mhm.
get that, right? But even for you, there should be stuff that are left off the table, even for you. And you know
Yeah.
what bothers me about her is she strikes me as one of these rappers that don't live what she talks.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about that when we talk about the new song. Yeah, I was gonna talk about that, but I
Right?
agree, totally
Okay,
agree.
because I've seen clips of this girl and
Yeah,
she seems smart
she is.
first.
Yeah, that's I agree. Yep.
Not this ghetto fabulous,
Mhm.
I don't got no damn sense type of image that you're trying to give off.
Yep.
Second, I've seen also clips of her with her family, with her children. She got some class with her kids.
Thankfully, yes.
Uh-huh. So therefore that means to me if you have it then you know what it looks like, so why are you doing it different?
Yeah.
That's how I think in my mind.
Talking about a bag. Mm.
Come on, at what expense?
Mhm.
Because one day your daughter's gonna grow up and she's gonna see this shit. Uh-huh. And as a young little black girl, is she gonna value herself anymore? No. And when she sees the heroes that she's gonna learn about in school, that you've done this with the heroes of the past, is she gonna continue to move the movement forward for black people? No. She's gonna take up after you. You know what I'm saying? And it just rubs me the wrong way because Sexy Red, okay, cool. You want to be gutter? You want to be bottom tier, bottom bitch, whatever you want to call yourself, okay? Go ahead. Go ahead. But have a little decency and leave this out of your
Yeah,
image.
be respectful.
Please.
Yeah. Mhm.
You knew it
All
was
right.
wrong. You got
Mhm.
called out for it, and I'll give you
She
one thing.
she
You
knew it
had
was
enough
wrong because she
respect
she
to
apologized
apologize.
very quickly too.
Yeah, so that means that you knew it was wrong.
Mm.
You knew it was wrong. She knew it was wrong, but she did it anyway for a bag, hoping that, oh, well, all the people from the past that have done the same kind of stupid shit with MLK, that she just skirch on by. No, no, because you just standing in MLK's presence, it says enough. Okay? Because he didn't fight for you to be a bottom bitch. He fought, okay, so that you could be in Congress one day. He fought, okay, once he started waking up towards the ending of his mission here on earth, he
Mhm.
started to want income equality.
Mhm. And not just based on race too.
Okay,
Across
after a while
classes.
he started to say, you know what, why am I fighting to eat in the same restaurant and I can't afford a cup of coffee? So he started to realize that, you know what, it's great if we integrate, but if we don't have anything for ourselves, and I can understand things is hard out here. People want to make a bag, but a lot of people are not like you who are willing to disrespect the people that came before us, right? So that you could be doing what you're doing. And I'm sick and tired. Can 2025, can we flip mode the image of black women? Can we change it up? Can we put people like Sexy Red to the side?
Mhm.
Like for real, for real. Because you know what? I'm tired of seeing that imagery, right?
Mhm.
I'm tired of seeing a black woman degrading herself, being okay with degrading herself for
Mhm.
a bag. Like, are you serious? Do you know what kind of generation of young girls that you're bringing up behind your music? Like, come on, man. Have some damn respect, Sexy Red. But what I will give you, you were wrong. You apologized quickly, swiftly, and I'm actually happy that MLK's daughter put your ass in check, even in an apology,
Mhm.
because she gathered you real quick. She sure did.
Mhm.
Even with your apologies, yeah, okay, I'll accept your apology, but please don't do it going forward.
Yeah.
And I could respect that. And I'm glad that MLK's daughters stand up for him and will not allow this type of imagery. And it's sad because that same Bernice, that same one,
Yeah.
she seems she said that people are using my father as a caricature, that they're using him as just, he's not a meme. Sorry people, this is not a meme. Like, can we just, Lord God, like, as black people, we should hold up our heroes.
Yeah, that was pretty much the reaction, especially after Carlos Miller chimed in with his nonsense. Just it's
Yeah, but
just like it's okay to leave.
his was almost more like, okay, it's the image of the person, right? So he's a comedian.
Mhm.
I could almost be more accepting of how he did it
Mhm.
than Sexy Red, and it's because of your image. It's because what you stand for. It's because your brand. When I think Sexy Red, I don't think activist. I don't think anything that is really good for our community. I don't.
Mhm.
I can let Miller go because at least he makes us laugh. Like, I know, but
Yeah, I'm like, no, it's seeing double standard, Kim.
it is a double standard. It is a whole double standard. But you know what? I'm sorry. Miller's like, his reputation is not as gutter and nasty as yours is. You have a
Mhm.
flipping a lip balm named gonorrhea. Okay, let's
Yeah.
put it in perspective. This heifer has a lip balm named gonorrhea, herpes. That who you think is gonna that's attracted to
Mhm.
young kids, young girls. You're making STDs cool? Nah, fam. I'll give Miller. I'm sorry. I just can't get down with that. I just can't. I can't. I can't get down with her. I just can't.
Mhm.
Miller. He's at least he's funny. Shoot. It's a double standard, yes, but we live in double standards all the time. So I'm gonna have one, and that is, I'm sorry. I would rather see him than her standing beside MLK.
Mhm. Okay,
So that's just
so
my perspective. Maybe I'm wrong, but the girl has a lip balm named, gonorrhea. Who does
yeah.
that? Like, come on. Gonorrhea on your
So
lips? Girl, I can't. Like,
so we're gonna move on to Chris Brown. Was in the
this
news this
fool.
week
Just kidding.
for um putting out a or doing a lawsuit against Universal. Is it Universal? Actually, let me correct that. I don't think it's Universal. It is Warner Brothers, I believe.
Yes.
Warner Brothers against what? So 500. Chris Brown sues Warner Brothers for a
Hmm.
documentary they released. I didn't know the documentary was released. So it was released sometime last fall, October. So it's called Chris Brown: A History of Violence, and it was released in October. And in it, there is like a newer, I guess, quote unquote victim, or who claims that Chris Brown uh, sexually assaulted her on a yacht in 2020. And so, in his lawsuit against, in his $500 million lawsuit against Warner Brothers, he says that the film is defamatory and the claims are baseless and sensationalized, accusing Warner Brothers of recklessly damaging his reputation. Um,
Sorry.
yeah, he goes on into the statement
Your reputation has been shit since you put your hands on Rihanna.
on Rihanna. Let's be, yeah, like the okay, yeah, we're gonna get to take. I mean, anyway, in the he said in the what did they say? Okay, so pretty much they're essentially saying that their lawyers are saying that um the documentary cast out on the debt on that basically it's like having a position to say like, okay, you didn't really question the accusations that's being made in the film. So because that's what one thing you have to say, like when you're doing a documentary, in film
Mhm.
101, when you see a documentary, yes, there's always, it always has to have a point of view. That's like what makes
Mhm.
a documentary good. But you also have to examine the other point of view, even if it's a little bit. Sometimes it's light and superficial, but you always have to kind of go there, right?
Mhm.
So me not seeing it, I don't know. But hey, this is a lawsuit. You need to win a lawsuit, so I can't say what was not in there. But the lawsuit is saying that it's like you're using false claims from a witness and stuff like that. I think there's other things in there where he mentions that, okay, yeah, this is it. The Warner Brothers actions undermine not only Mr. Brown's decade-long efforts to rebuild his life, but also the credibility of true survivors of violence. Yes, so that's my issue, because if you do look up the history of Chris Brown's accusations, and again, he has never, I don't think he's ever been, I looked it up, I don't think he's ever been, what's the word, convicted, but he has been accused, and there's ample evidence of his, as the documentary is called, A History of Violence. Here's my thing. I agree that, listen, like you said, the news has been out there. The lawsuits, the charges are in the public court system for people to go and look up.
Mhm.
So it's kind of hard, like, to, I think it was you saying this. This is like, but there's documentation. There's like it's factual that you have a history of
Well, that's
violence.
the thing. It ain't a lie. Like what? It's not defamation if it's true.
Hmm.
That's just the bottom line. That's how defamation works. Okay, like it has to be false.
Hmm.
Like if they came out and said Chris Brown has AIDS,
Yeah.
okay? Then you could sue them for defamation because they can't prove, nor do they know whether
Hmm.
or not it's true. But if
Hmm.
you've had an ongoing habit of putting your hands on females or being caught up in lawsuits where it's, the type of crime that you're being accused of is against women,
Hmm.
you know how is it defamation if it's true? It's not.
Yeah, and
Sorry,
I
Chris.
he's been trying to claw his way out of, he's like the pariah of the music industry. It's like no matter what and I'm saying this objectively. I'm not for or against him at this point now, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like objectively he is the pariah of the music industry. Like,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like no matter what he does, and he's, you do a world tour, you release an album that's considered really really good. Here's
Uh-huh.
it, and his fans, and even a lot of people, I feel like there's a big rallying behind him in the last, I would say, 5 or 6 years, where people are
Yeah.
like trying to champion him to be
Mm-hmm.
able to, like, well, he couldn't perform at the American Music Awards or something like that, and he got booed when he came out on the stage for another thing. So he's very successful. He's still doing very well. He's selling millions of records. He's selling out world tours. So those are all things to prove that technically he is still a successful musician.
Yeah, he sure is,
However,
and he should be
he
happy that
can't
he is.
he should be you should be right, he should be satisfied, but he wants to be able to be he wants to do and go and do a Michael Jackson tribute on an award show. And Chris, people aren't ready. You're lucky that
Okay,
you're still doing
let's
good
just
for
call it a
yourself.
buck. Okay,
Hmm.
Chris, when you put your hands on Rihanna, the way that you put your hand, you didn't just put your hands, you bit her in her face and all sorts of things, B.
Hmm.
When that was released, your career as that R&B soft
Sweet.
soulful
Hmm.
type was out the door. It was out the door. And I think your PR over time has tried to turn you into like the bad boy of R&B,
Yes. Yeah.
right? And you've been successful. And I think you should hush the hell up and be glad that you've been
Hmm.
successful. But you're not going to hit heights that you want to hit. You just won't. And the reason
Unfortunately, yeah.
being is because of that image. And here's the thing. When that happened, which was what, in 2015? Was it 2015 or 16? Um,
Around that time.
right? So
Mhm.
2015, 16, somewhere in there,
Yeah.
you did this and you didn't stop.
It was
You didn't
2000.
stop.
It was 2009.
Oh, back foot. And you still
That
never stop.
yeah.
Okay? You
hmm
still never stop. So we know of Rihanna. We know of what's her name? Karuchi Tran.
Karuchi, yep. Yep.
Karuchi. She had to put a
A
a
restraining
restraining
order.
order on you for years.
Mhm.
Years. You think a judge will just grant you a restraining order for years? I think it was 5 years.
Mhm.
For no damn reason? No. You're violent. The last claim was in 2020 with that yacht situation.
Mhm.
So you've been consistently in the limelight for this action.
And it's not just women. He's fighting Usher. He's fighting men. He fought Drake. Yeah. When it comes, if you add the men in, that's a whole nother
Look,
story.
so you're a violent somebody.
Mhm.
You're a violent somebody. You are. And so there's no lie. So if you want to put up all this money to come and sue them, go ahead, but they're going to win because you have a track record. Okay? Just a few years ago, even before this yacht situation, I believe in
Mhm.
2019, I have to look it up again, but I
Mhm.
believe you were in cahoots with Trey Songz and
Mhm.
and accused of sexual assault again. I
Mhm.
don't know how the hell Trey Songz keeps Skirch
Mhm.
from being thrown underneath the jail,
Mhm.
but
He
he's
gets.
been teaching you a thing or two.
Hmm.
Because somehow you keep, this is 2020 was the last claim that you raped this girl on a yacht in 2020. So you know what I'm saying? Like, so from 2009, you've had a steady record till present, and
Hmm.
you wanna claim defamation? Okay.
I kind of feel like he doesn't have
He doesn't have
a
a piss to shit in, man. He
yeah.
doesn't have nothing here.
So that's all he could do to kind of go against this rep. It's not a reputation, but I'll just say reputation
It is a
is
reputation. You're an abuser. You are an
yeah.
abuser.
Against this reputation is that now you just have to try and this is your only way to fight back. You can't say I didn't do this or I didn't do that.
I'm
But
sorry, Jenna. I'm gonna have to say you're wrong
mhm,
right there. If he
mhm,
wants this to stop, if he wants to change his image,
mhm.
keep your damn hands to yourself. Simple. You wanted to change your image so badly. Rihanna should have been the first and last person
and,
we heard about.
and let's not forget, Chris, come off them drugs.
But
Come off those drugs.
just
Chris,
get
get
off of
off
the
the
cocaine.
drugs.
Okay?
Yeah, so like let's not
You need
forget
to come off the crack, bro.
let's say the quiet part loud right now. Chris is clearly on drugs. I'm sorry.
I
Like
mean, we've seen this for at least a decade. This man has been on drugs for a while.
well, well for me it just got obvious in the last maybe 4 years where I'm like, yeah, I think he's on something.
When he first did his hair blonde, when he
hmm
first did his hair blonde, it was shortly after
The thing with Rihanna.
the thing with Rihanna. When he
hmm
started to go blonde more
hmm
and he started showing up with all these weird funky hair colors, which is cool and everything. He's an artist, so
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
But then he started to lose, like, drop weight, like it was out of style, like
hmm
like the man looked cracked out
yeah.
long
Mhm.
time ago, right?
So he's doing that. We'll see what happens. It's not looking good to your point because the facts are facts,
But do
right?
you think Warner Brothers, like you asked yesterday when you're talking, don't you think they've done their due diligence? Like, don't you think
Yeah,
that they've
it's not. This is not no small
come
production,
on,
private, independent
come on,
production company. Like Warner Brothers is massive. That's like a media conglomerate. Like, come on now. We'll
really?
see. We'll
Like, come
see.
on now, like, come on, Chris, like, come on, man. You want to clean up your image, keep your hands to yourself. That's as simple as it can be. You know, you need to go a while and a few relationships where women do not report of you be putting your hands on them, and maybe that might change your image, because this
Mm-hmm.
right here, this ain't gonna work, and you're just gonna spend a whole lot of money for nothing. So kudos to you, Chris Brown, but just keep your hands to yourself. It's that easy. It really
Mm.
is. So too bad for Chris Brown. Oh well.
Uh, yeah. Don't really feel sorry for him.
No, I
So we're
don't.
gonna move on into some music and movie news. First, Oscar nominations came out this week. I'm always leaned into that.
Mm-hmm.
And there. Okay, so I want to just say a couple of movies for the movie watchers here who listen. I was just like, first of all, Dune. So best picture. I'm gonna say what best pictures are, because usually what's in best picture is probably going to be nominated across the different categories like actors and writing and all this stuff anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the usually the biggest award of the night. So for best picture, it's Anora. I didn't watch that. The Brutalist. Didn't watch that. A Complete Unknown, which is about Bob Dylan.
Oh.
I didn't watch that. The Conclave, which is about something about the drama and the Pope making the how the Vatican makes decisions about choosing the Pope and some drama that happened there. Dune Part Two, I watched that, loved it.
Mm.
Emilia Perez, watched that on Netflix. I have thoughts. I'm Still Here. I didn't watch that. I think it's a Brazilian movie. Nickel Boys, I didn't see. The Substance, I watch. Wicked, I watch. Um, so I'm fine with this list,
I
but
haven't
in
watched
term,
none of them. So
you
you
didn't
know
watch
what?
not one.
Not one of them. So
Yeah, but
you're
you're not
gonna
a
have
movie.
to,
But yeah,
yeah.
I'm gonna hold it down. But because yeah, but you're not a movie person. You
I
don't.
am,
Yeah.
but I just
Mhm.
haven't been as of late. As of late,
Yeah.
I would say in the last year, two
Hmm.
years, I've just fallen off. I used to work at a movie theater.
Oh yes, I remember. Yes, yes.
And I love movies. Like you have
Mhm.
no idea. I love
But as an
movies.
adult, you're right. When you're adulting, especially,
Oh, too
and
much
even
of it.
now, like
Jeez. I'm telling you.
the experience of going to the theater. Like I'm not. There's only certain movies I'm going to go out of my way to go to the theater to watch. For
I
the most
know.
part,
I know.
I'm a catch it when it's online. Right? They're streaming online,
Mm-hmm.
and so and like even still, even though I like the Oscars, I wouldn't say I like, Oscar movies kind of sometimes have the reputation for being more on the boring side. Sometimes they're exciting, but you know I would say this list, though, based on what I know, even though I didn't watch every movie, I know about every movie. It's very eclectic, I can give it that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
um I'm just gonna say that I'm a Dune fan, and the director's name is Denis Villeneuve, and it has Timothy Chalamet, and it has what's her name, Zendaya, in there. I first of all, I've read the book, the Dune book. I've
Mm.
been watching this movie, so it's a movie that I really love, but. They didn't nominate the director, and that movie is like
Mm-mm.
visually stunning. I would recommend, like, it's not a boring. It's like a sci-fi dystopian kind of movie based on a
Right.
book. So I would
Mm-hmm.
definitely say it's not your traditional, honestly, it's not your traditional Oscar type of movie, but
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
really good. So the director wasn't nominated. So that was a snub for me. I have to talk about The Substance, which isn't
Mm.
a part of the best movies that I just mentioned, best pictures that I just. Oh, it is here. Oh shit, it is bit here. So The Substance is the one that Demi Moore is getting a lot of attention for. Again, I would recommend that as well. It's not a traditional Oscar movie.
Mm.
So it's like, it's basically examining women's, I would say particularly women, although let's say people to be equal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this pursuit being perfect, right? So
Mm.
when you get older, you feel like you don't look the same, you feel like you start to hate how you look and whatever, whatever. But you know what? Your body's your body. You have to live with your body, no
Yeah.
matter no matter if you modify it, you get sick, you do
Right.
you treat
Mhm.
it well, you treat it bad. That's your one body.
Yeah.
At least in this day and age, you still just get one body, right?
Right?
So you should love it in whatever form and shape it's in, right? And so it's about self acceptance and self love. I think it's very crazy. Actually, I don't think you like the last half of it, but
Mm-mm.
it's because I know you don't like the weird gory stuff,
Nope.
but it's actually, I think every woman should try and watch it. But
Okay.
it's wild. So that, and I want her. I think if I'm gonna go to best actress, so we had talked about picture, so I'm just gonna go to actress and actor and move on.
Okay.
So in this best actor, I didn't watch none of these movies. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't watch none of these movies. I'm just
Mm-mm.
rooting, like Issa Rae said, I'm rooting for everybody black.
Right?
So Coleman Domingo is
That's my
nominated.
default. That's my default
That's
right
if I
there.
don't know, I look
That's my
I look
default.
for the black person. I'm
Right?
gonna be honest. So
Yeah.
I'm not. I can be honest and say I'm not fully informed.
Yeah.
But
But if you
yeah.
black, I'll be on your side. Like, yeah, I'm down with
So
you.
that's Coleman Domingo and Sing Sing, and but from what I know about that movie, it's pretty much about this prison that starts this like music program to help prisoners, overcome blah 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 blah. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and then best actress is Cynthia Erivo for Wicked. My first and only
Okay.
choice. My first and only choice. I recommend watching Wicked. I don't know if you watched
No,
that with your daughter,
I
but
wanted to watch Wicked. I actually want to go to the movie theater and watch it.
yeah, I actually regret, like, it's streaming, so I saw it online. But
Yeah.
when the second, there's a part two of it coming out this year, so I'm gonna make sure I go to the theater
Yeah, I heard the
when.
vocals are awesome on
Oh
that
yeah,
movie.
it's amazing. It's like
Yeah.
there's
See,
part
movies like that, it's like
that's a
you
movie
should go
theater.
to the theater and
That's a
see it.
theater movie for sure.
Right?
It's colorful. It's like it's one of those movies where you're like, yes, I miss movies. Like it's like
Right. Yeah.
I've watched it. I was like, oh, I regret not seeing this in the theater because it's like colorful. It's just like what movie. I hate to sound corny, but when we're talking about the Oscars, it's what
Yeah.
makes movies magical. Is everything is in Wicked with that. So I'll leave
Right.
it there. I won't go any further. Then
Okay.
there's for Emilia Perez, Carla Sofia Gasson. I have
Mm-hmm.
thoughts on that movie. Mickey for Nora. I want to watch that movie. I haven't seen it, but it's a lot of people are talking about. I'm gonna watch it. It's on my list. The
Right.
Substance, Demi Moore, and then Fernanda Torres from Still Here. That's a foreign movie I haven't seen. I'm not really sure what it's about, to be honest. So I for me personally, it's only Demi or Cynthia. Everybody
Okay.
else, thank you for coming out.
Right?
Um,
It's a wraps.
it's a wrap. And then, so I have to talk about Emilia Perez. So
Mm-hmm.
Emilia Perez is a submersive idea. So pretty much it's all like one of those wild premises.
Mm-hmm.
And what I would say is that it's one of those movies where you're like, oh, you feel like, oh, they made it to get of a lot of attention because it's actually leading. I think it has the most nominations, which
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, what? And here's why. I don't mean to be. I think it's just as a movie, it's not the themes and kind of like the production because it was made by an old Frenchman. And now have that in the back of your mind as I describe the movie. Amelia
Okay.
Perez stars outside of this woman, and this woman is a trans woman being nominated for Best Actress. Do with that with what you will.
Mm-hmm.
And what's her name? We always talk about her, the Colombian girl. Santa. What's her
Oh, who
name?
tried to play that actor?
Who
That
tried to
activist.
play
Nina. Was it
Nina
Nina?
Simone? What's her name
Yeah.
again? I don't know. I can't believe her name is. She's
Yeah.
nominated.
It slipped me from that
I
time.
think she's nominated. Zoe Saldana. Zoe
Yeah, from
Saldana.
that
She's
time where she tried to play that black
yeah.
woman.
I'll never forgive her.
Her
That's why
name slipped my mind.
anytime I watch anything with her, I'm hate watching it. Okay,
Straight
I'm
up,
never gonna forgive her for that
straight up,
nonsense.
straight up, straight up and down.
Even though she's a solid actress, she was not right for doing that. But
No, she
anyway,
wasn't, and she got so much backlash afterward, and it was just wasn't worth it for her.
and she
Just
didn't
wasn't worth it.
apologize until recently. Like
Okay,
it wasn't until the
okay.
last couple of years I've seen an article where she's like, "Yeah,
I shouldn't have done it.
Yeah,
Yeah, she
but
realized.
anyway,
Yeah.
so Saldana's in a lawyer, and pretty much she is contacted by a gangster, a drug cartel person in Mexico. Mind you, none of the lead actors in this movie are Mexican. Another one of the controversies with this movie. Controversy
Mm-hmm.
number one. You
Oh.
have all these Latin American people
Oh,
in a
so
movie.
Latin American people are getting vax, are they? Oh. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
right. And
Oh, okay.
based in Mexico. It's based in Mexico. They have no Mexican leads.
Oh,
Okay,
okay. Mm.
so this gangster contacts this lawyer because essentially he's married and he has children, or I don't know if he's married, but he has a woman and he has children. His wife is played by Selena Gomez, who's speaking
Mm-hmm.
Spanish very badly. Her Spanish,
Mm-hmm.
she is of Mexican background,
Yeah.
but her Spanish is not good, and that's what the
Mm.
people are saying. I'm just telling you what the Latin community is saying online.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants to he wants to transition to be a woman.
Huh.
Already, this is interesting. Okay, a
Okay.
drug cartel, a drug leader wants to transition to be a woman, and he uses this lawyer to find a doctor in Asia to arrange everything and transition everything. And he sends his family to Switzerland with all the money that he has, so he can have a complete different life. Then
Hmm.
he starts, so he's living as a woman for many years and bucks up on the same lawyer again somewhere and says he wants to meet his kids, or she. Now she's a she.
Hmm.
She wants to meet his kids. She misses his kids, blah, blah, blah. So now she brings back the wife, Selena Gomez, and the kids. And they are under the impression that this person is a long lost auntie, an auntie of the guy. Because the
Mm-mm.
guy pretty much faked his death to transition to a woman. So I'm gonna leave it there, but it's crazy. Let's that alone, the premise alone is it's a crazy
Right?
premise, right? On top of that, guys, I didn't tell you, it's a musical.
Oh my
And
gosh.
there's a song in this musical called Rhino that literally talks about penis to vagina is a
Oh my
lyric.
god. I
Okay,
can't.
it's wild. It's
I
one of
just
those like
can't.
you need to pop a pill or something to watch it. Like it's one of
Oh
those you
my.
can't you're like you're going to be like, "Am I shouldn't watch this sober cuz this is
Right?
too much. This is too much." Anyway, but what I'm saying is for me as a viewer, I was like I wouldn't say it was trash. It's definitely, what's interesting is that it's very unexpected, like the idea of a drug cartel wanting to a
Mm-hmm.
drug cartel leader wanting to transition to a woman, and he has kids, and he just wants to do all this. But it's also like kind of like the singing is not that great,
Hmm.
and you know
The
but
only singer
anything.
I see on that cast, because I'm looking it up,
Hmm.
is Selena Gomez. That's the only one
Selena
I see. Is that
Gomez,
it
you're
has
right.
some sort of musical talent
And
to
they don't
be.
even give her a good song to
Uh,
sing, to be honest. You're right. He's like, you have what, at least a one real singer, can you let her sing? So
my.
I'll leave it at that. It's controversial, and for me, I'm a little bit insulted that it has so many nominations. I mean, it's okay. It's not a bad movie, but I don't think it's 13 Oscar nominations good. You
Wow.
know. So we'll leave that there. We'll when it comes on, we'll be talking about the winners and the outfits when it airs. But just a quick preview. And finally, before we move into our one and only segment,
Yes.
we were talking about Sexy Red, and
This
funnily
girl.
enough, Sexy Red just did a collaboration with the one and only Bruno Mars, hitmaker Bruno
Yes.
Mars. And so it's so funny, Bruno put a tweet out a while back and said, somebody tell Sexy Red I want to do a song with her or something like that, right? I
Mm-hmm.
can't remember um what the tweet said. And then she's like, "Hey Bruno," and not too long, um, now we have this song, and this song is called "Fat, Juicy, and Wet" video. Now we see why he was looking for Sexy Red on
Okay.
brand. And he basically said that it was when he released the video, he's like, I had this song in my head when I just finished leaving the strip club after my birthday, and I thought she would be the perfect person on it. And I watched the video, and it's what for what it is. I'm like, it's fine, it's on brand for her, and it's on brand for him. But the thing is, Bruno can do anything. He's like he's a music man, right? Like he's
Yeah.
actually has a lot of musicianship, so he can, and he has done a lot of different things in his music style. The only thing is when I watched the video, Lady Gaga and this girl, this
Rose something.
Rose, yeah, I think she's a K-pop girl from one of those K-pop
Mm-hmm.
groups. I was like, that's Lady Gaga? I didn't even recognize. I was like, who are these people? And then after I looked it up, it was like, I found out it was Lady Gaga. So it's a big cultural moment. So the song is less than 3 minutes. But it's actually a fun little, the beat is good. And you know what? He made it to be a club banger, a strip club song. And I would
Yeah.
say it fits. I say that's just what it is. But like to your point, I was going to bring that up. Yeah, I think it's a good song, and it's probably going to do very well, to be honest. Um, Anyway, um
I listened to it though.
yeah.
I did listen to the song,
Mm,
and to be quite honest, I mean, it just sounds very typical. It just didn't. I don't know. I guess I'm looking for something else from music as of late, and I
yes.
haven't gotten
Yeah.
it. So this for me just seems like, right on brand with Sexy Red, and even with Bruno
Mhm.
Mars, because he does sing about a lot of freaky stuff, even though
Yeah.
what we know him for is very, like,
Soulful
bubblegum type of,
funk.
yeah,
Yeah.
fun type of music, right? Which I
Mhm.
can appreciate, because
Mhm.
we don't have enough of that in the industry, like,
Mhm.
pushed. So it's nice to hear that he does have music like that. However, I just felt like, um yeah, it's gonna be big, but I don't think it will get as big as people think.
No, it's a strip. He made it for. I think if he said he made it as a strip club anthem, so it's going to be a strip club anthem. I think it's going to be big on TikTok. I don't think it's going to be this massive, but I think it's going to be for what he created for what it is. I think it fits the bill. Let's put it that
Yeah,
way. And the
and
video is
that's if
cute.
TikTok's around still. So,
Yeah, but that we didn't even
TikTok's
talk. Shoot, we didn't even talk about
about the
all of that.
TikTok drama. I've been trying to wait to see what's popping with the TikTok
Yeah,
drama,
let's give it a minute.
because
But
it's
yeah,
going back and forth. I can't
it's
keep
cool.
up. You know what
Yeah,
I
let's
mean?
go back and forth.
I just
So
need a resolve. Like, I just need
we'll
an end point, and then I could say what I have to say about that. But
exactly. But to your point, Sexy Red, this is very. You were talking about her brand, right? Because you're right. I've seen her do interviews, and I'm like, this girl is a family person. Let me say that yes, maybe she grew up in the hood and had some ratchetness around her, but something that I like about her, and if she's really challenged and having a serious conversation, is she doesn't. She, yeah, to your point, she's not an ignorant. She's a little bit ignorant, but in basic she has family values. Let's start there, right?
yeah,
She cares, she does right by her kids, she looks after her
yeah.
mother. And if
And I'm
you
sure this is not who she is when she goes and closes the
when she
door.
goes home. Oh no,
No, I
exactly.
don't think so. I
Even
don't
certain
think
things,
so.
people ask her certain things, they want to get into the whole Sexy Red brand, and even she'll be like, what? So to your point, it's not really 100% who she is. Maybe at one point when she was a younger woman, maybe that was, but right now at her big age, and she has two kids that she looks like she's working very hard to provide for her family. I think that you know a
Well,
lot
with
of this is
with Sexy
mm,
Red, what I've come across with this girl
mm,
is that she's not stupid. Okay,
no.
I don't even think that she's really about the brand. I think that she took what was already out there as a
Hmm.
brand and
Yeah.
tried to take it to the 10th degree. Like, she tried
Yes.
to take what was already being pushed
Yeah.
and take it to the 10th degree,
Yeah.
because that's where we come up with the gonorrhea lipsticks and stuff. Like, she's
Yes.
trying to take it to the 10th degree, so she's trying to outdo
Hmm.
whatever image that we had out there of, like, the skanks, or the
The
or the
raunchy, yeah,
the
the raunchy
raunchy
black girl.
heifers, or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So she tried to take that, but I don't think that's truly her, and I think that she has to be so over the top with it
Yeah.
to make it believable to
So that's
some,
yes, that's what
right?
it
But
is. It
when you
is very
have
over the top.
discernment like you and I do,
Hmm.
or when you're of an age, you can see past all that. You can
Hmm.
see that this is just a brand, this is a means to an end. This is a means
Hmm.
for her to support her family, right? And to make a little coin, oh, here,
Hmm.
you know,
Hmm.
be able to, afford life. So I think this is not really her, but she's over the top because she wants us all to believe that it's her.
Mhm.
But I really don't think that it is. Deep down inside, I don't think you feel good that this is the type of music that you're putting out for one day your daughter to say these own words. I don't
Mhm.
think that's what she wants. However, the money's right.
Mhm.
She's on a song with Bruno Mars. But what I have been hearing about this song is that, this doesn't look good for Bruno Mars. That's what
Mhm.
I've been hearing. That, the type of music that we know him to make, and yes, some of it could be a little raunchy, a little ratchet,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
But he's more feel good music, fun, club banger type music, and not so much this ratchetness, right?
Mhm.
And so he had to call on a person like Sexy Red
Mhm.
to hype up the ratchetness, because this
Yeah.
is not really him,
Mhm.
right? Like when he does sing about
It
the
was actually a good
ratchetness,
idea. It was a good idea for him to get her on that song,
of
to be honest.
of
Mhm.
course it is, especially since she's still kind of hot right now.
Yeah, I thought she was losing some of that fire, but her getting on this song
And
with
her
Bru
with
with
Gorilla the other day
mhm,
brought her
mhm,
back.
mhm, mhm,
Like reintroduced her to everybody. But now what I'm seeing is that, people are saying this might not be a good look for Bruno. You
but
know,
do people
it's
know
always
he's a
going to
big
be a good look
cokehead?
for her.
Do people know that Bruno Mars is like a big cokehead though? Like
Of
he's
course, and a gambler, and he
yeah.
owes
Oh yeah, we
the
talked about
casino
this.
millions and
Yeah,
millions of dollars. So
he's tapping
yes, the casino said you're gonna find your ass with Sexy Red and make a damn song. You owe us money. Uh huh. Go find her, Sexy Red. Yes, go find her. She said,
Yeah.
"Hey, you better
Hmm.
respond to her." Okay. Yeah, he owes the casino lots of money.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
but
you know,
anyway, it's a cute little look for her. I think it more helps her than him. But I think it's gonna do social media. It's gonna do very well.
yeah,
Yeah, but that's it.
yes, and I think it is a the beat's nice. The
Hmm.
beat's nice and
For what it's
everything, but
supposed to be, he said it's a strip club anthem. Okay, ooh, I
well,
can see this
that's
working in a strip
exactly what
club.
it is. That's exactly what it is. And while they have their anthem, we're gonna move on into the workout.
Hmm.
Yes, and so the workout, everybody, the people who have listened to our show for all these many years, you know that this is where we work out your heart and exercise your mental fitness. We're doing a deep dive discussion. So this deep dive discussion, um, so whenever me and Jeanette get together, we talk about what we're gonna do, and she has something written down here, and I think that I want to call this deep dive discussion something she has written down here, and that is focus in the chaos.
Hmm.
That's what this right here workout is called. Focus in the chaos. There is chaos all around us, people.
Hmm.
There, we can't run from the chaos fast enough. You hear what I'm telling you? First, we have the shenanigans with the Trump inauguration, and
The fires, the
right,
inauguration, the
jeez,
the
son,
the AI, the DEI,
we
the
haven't even got through January yet. Okay,
nope.
can't
Hmm.
even hit February yet. I'm still hoping that Cat Williams doesn't come up pop up.
No,
Okay,
nope,
I
nope. He
can't do
better
you
not.
right now, Cat. I can't do you. I can't. It's too much, too much. But yes, so there are so many things that are going on in our world today, outside of, the sexy reds of the world and
Hmm.
Chris Brown suing Warner Brothers. There are actual things that are happening in our world. And, you know, um, with Amazon pulling out, these big corporations, they're trying to get rich even when there's no money to be had. Like, just circulate the money, man. That's all I'm saying. But
Hmm.
anyhow, get back to the focus of this workout. And that is, how do we focus in the chaos? What ways can we keep on track and not
Hmm.
get bogged down with
Hmm.
all that's around us, right?
Hmm.
And I'm not saying by any means that we should ignore what's around us,
No.
but sometimes you need a vacation. Okay, you need a mental vacation from the fuckery. Okay,
Mhm.
you need
Yeah.
to have a mental vacation or an outlet
Yeah. An
for
outlet.
you to let
Mm-hmm.
and release, because if we don't, people, I don't know what 2025 will hold. It's just January. We're not even 3 weeks in, real good. Okay. And we're already at this point. So, there are things that me and Jeanette, we try to incorporate in our lives in the chaos so we can stay focused. And one of those we had mentioned earlier when we were talking about the shenanigans with Trump. I didn't watch it. I just
Hmm.
didn't watch it. I needed to take a political break. I
Yeah.
needed to refocus and recenter my thoughts on things that actually make me happy, right?
Mm,
Because there is a lot going on with that, and it will, the effects of Trump being in office, of big businesses, and all of this, it affects us. It affects
hmm.
us everyday man. And so you need a mental trip. You need a mental trip, or you need to just put that aside, tuck that away. It will be there when you come back. Don't worry.
Hmm.
It will be there.
It's not going anywhere.
It's not
Okay.
going no place. No place at all. So you can take a break and come back. Also, I think just removing yourself from the online world
Yeah. Yeah.
and living in the reality that we're actually in,
Hmm.
right? Put your phone down. Put your phone down, turn
Amen.
off the tablet, shut down the computer, do whatever you have to do. If you have to go off grid for a little while on a vacation with friends in a mountain someplace, camping, whatever the hell you need to do, because refocusing is very important.
Mm.
Sometimes you have to refocus so that you can stay focused,
Yep.
right? Um, so, what are some ideas of ways that we can, you know, um, take a trip and
Hmm.
stay focused in the chaos?
So I was thinking this because, like you said, it just feels like very, as somebody who does try to limit news, it's like there's just so much happening, like you said, in a short amount of time, that's like this is, and you can't like ignore it. Like literally, it's like, ooh, this is not looking good. Like,
No,
and not just over there, not just over there in the US, over here too. Things
everywhere.
are things
Yeah.
are not looking good. Okay. I went to the grocery store a couple weeks ago and I saw some $7 bag of chips, $7
Okay.
Lay's. I was in a Metro, which here is one of the more expensive grocery stores, but I was like, even for Metro, this is rude and
Right.
feisty.
Okay.
So, it's not just but yeah. So, you said something that I really like. Limit. So, in general, you curate and limit your news intake. That
Yeah.
is like what. That is like, I think in this type of
Yeah.
situation and where there's just so much going on in the world and it's making you feel anxious or uneasy, is
Mhm.
turn off the
Mhm.
news
Mhm.
and you only focus. Like if you're an investor, okay, you might need to look at some financial news. You only
Mhm.
focus on information you actually need and seek out that specific information you need.
Mhm.
Don't just blindly go and consume any kind of content.
Yeah.
So it starts there. So that takes me to part two, which you
Mhm.
mentioned, is put down the phone, put down
Right,
the social media, come off of it.
girl.
And if you have a problem with control, take the app off your phone.
Right.
One thing I did is, I haven't done it yet, but like back in the day, I took Facebook off my phone years ago.
Mhm.
Ask me if I go on Facebook. The only reason I interact with a Facebook is Facebook Messenger. I have the
Mhm.
app. And I'm so happy that they separated the Facebook app from Facebook Messenger. So you don't
Right.
need to
Right.
be in the Facebook environment to get a message on Facebook Messenger. Some
Right.
old school family. And the only reason I have it is I have some old school family members. That's how they communicate with me.
Mhm. Mhm.
Otherwise, nothing Facebook would be on my phone. So that's one thing. And then the Instagram, the shade rooms. A lot of people were complaining the
Stop clicking on them, man. I'm telling you. Leave them
um
alone. Leave
Shade
them
Room
alone.
was facing a lot of black backlash because they're at the inauguration.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's about
They're
right.
at the inauguration, and a lot of people were like, "Really now?" I mean, that's another debate. So I won't get into the politics of that, to be honest. But yeah, limit your social media, or even pages where you feel like they're posting a lot of this negative and stuff that's making you uneasy.
Hmm.
Unfollow them, even if you're still going to be, because you can curate your social media to
That's
be
right.
relaxing.
Yeah.
You could just be want to look at like kitten videos or memes,
Or use
or
it for actual entertainment,
just general entertainment. Like you want to watch a funny movie clip. Like, you know what I
right?
mean? So that's what we call curating kind of like what you're consuming.
Yeah.
So that is, I love that, and that's something I'm going to do more of. I think I can limit news, but I think like I'm an Instagram user. I need to like come off some of these some
Mhm.
pages, even if it's temporary. I need to like get them off of my feed, and I'm going to do that. I'm gonna take the shade room off, guys. I've been talking about it. I'm gonna do it right now. I'm gonna press the unfollow button right now. I want to.
Okay.
I can't. If I'm gonna. I have to walk the walk. If I'm gonna
Walk
talk
the
the talk.
walk. We have to walk it.
So,
And you know what? While you're doing that,
yeah.
which is awesome. And
Mhm.
you know what? I feel like with social media, with online and all of this stuff, it removes you from what's actually happening around
Yes,
you,
because it creates an emotion. Yeah, go ahead.
right?
Sorry.
And it takes you away from your reality. Your reality is what you're living in, and why don't you stop and smell the roses? Like, Jesus, we need to come back into the reality of life. And it's not online. That's
Nope.
just that's not real. It's a virtual life that you're living, and it can be very stressful and overwhelming, and just too much information too quickly, and a lot of the information that we're consuming is not always helpful. It's not always good for us.
No.
And so, staying focused, for me, when I think of staying focused in the chaos, is I have to literally say I'm removing myself.
Yep. Remove
You
yourself. That's
have
a
to
good.
be able to remove yourself. Now, that may be harder than you think, because, as human beings, we develop habits,
Hmm.
and we run with them, right? And so sometimes you have to be shaken up in the habits that you've created so you can create new ones. So
Hmm.
sometimes if you remove yourself from what you've have going on, right? Take a break. You might develop a new habit. You might develop one that's actually better for you mentally, spiritually, even physically. You
Hmm.
know, when I've never started any of this Facebook. I've said this
Yes.
before.
We talked about this. Yep.
Yeah, I
Can
have.
you?
And the reason why is because I felt from the very beginning with Facebook, it was too invasive. And
Hmm.
what I meant by that was not, oh, people are in my business, but
Hmm.
that I could be in everybody's business. Like,
Yes.
I have access to information that really I shouldn't have.
Hmm.
I really shouldn't know. I really shouldn't be a part of. And I just decided from then, you know what? I don't really like all of this stuff. I'm a private person. So the people who know me know my business. Okay. And the people who I want to know my business know my business. It doesn't need to be on a platform. I don't want a platform.
Hmm.
I find that the more people that have platforms, it seems to desire or take a lot of who you are to maintain said platform. It takes you to post, it takes you to edit this and to look at other people's posts and to comment on it and to like this. And Lord God, that's too much works.
Hmm.
Okay, that's too much works. And I have already enough involved in my life to keep me busy. I don't need to go that extra, limit. However, I understand the world that we live in. So I'm not oblivious to the things that we have out here. I use the internet as entertainment. And it's
Hmm.
easier for me to do that because I don't have Instagram. I don't have Facebook. I don't give a shit what's happening on X. I don't
Yeah.
it's just not a part of my day-to-day living. And
Yeah.
so when I do access, YouTube, for instance, it's primarily for entertainment. And
Mhm.
for me, I can turn it off
Yep.
because it hasn't been so invasive in my life. It hasn't taken over parts of my life.
Yeah, it's like you go on there to see
I see
your,
my one thing
whatever.
one tool and I come
Mhm.
off. I even use it to keep informed, you know,
Mhm.
because I do find if I missed a segment on the news, which I've stopped watching the news for about 10 years now.
Mhm.
I don't watch the news, but I do keep current. I'm not
Mhm.
saying not to keep current with the world that you live in and turn
No.
into some sort of hermit and go up in a mountain someplace and have your own water. No, I'm not. I'm not saying none of that. What I'm saying is that limiting yourself is healthy,
Yep.
and saying to yourself that's enough, because guess what, this internet thing, there ain't nobody who's going to regulate you.
Mm-mm.
Nobody's going to tell you, oh, don't continue looking at the websites, don't continue going here, don't continue going there.
Yeah, you have to control
Nobody is
that.
going to tell you that, you
And
have
just
to
like,
do that.
yeah, and just like people say, right? It's like food, whatever, garbage in, garbage out,
Right.
right? So
Right.
if you're consuming negative things, it's going to make you feel bad.
And you will then produce that negative feeling, it will just come out of you,
Mm-hmm.
right? You will just, it's unfortunate, because I really think that initially the idea of online and virtual is a great idea initially, what it was meant for, which was to keep people in contact,
Mm-hmm.
right? It has changed drastically.
It's
It's
about
not.
content now
It
and
is.
algorithms, not just it's algorithms and content. Let's put it. You know what? Forget it's about algorithms.
There
Okay,
you
let's
go.
just call it is what it is. And
And
um
who's controlling those algorithms?
right,
And
that's the
who
thing.
wants us to see what they want us to see through those algorithms? And that's the thing that I don't like about
Mm-hmm.
the online and social media and all this, is that there are people who have an agenda behind the scenes that you are not aware of. This is why I stopped watching the news,
Mm-hmm.
because they'll tell you what they think you need to know or what they want you to know, right? And people nowadays, like we were saying earlier, things happen so fast, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
like you'll hear it today and by the end of the week it's gone. It's over. We don't really. I'll give you an example. When last you heard anything about the fires in California?
Maybe a couple days ago,
Oh,
because
okay.
there's
But at
another
one
there's
point
some.
they were pumping that through the media.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't turn on anything without mention of it. So it's like things happen like that where there's a focus and then
You
it's
move on
yesterday's news.
to the next news cycle, as they say.
But that speed of time before, back in the day, you'd have to wait for more news to be printed on a newspaper or to be, broadcasted on a news
Yeah.
station.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's so fast and furious that we don't even give time to remember those things because we're on to the next. We're so if you think about it, like, oh well, before you know it, we're on to this and we're on to that. So your brain, your emotions, your feelings, your spirit are going as fast as that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when do you get a chance to actually have it sink in, to reflect, to make decisions? When does that happen in that process? It doesn't.
Mm.
And before you know it, you're burnt out. And before you know it, you're like, Lord God, I need to come off of this internet thing here, yeah. I need to go take a trip. There's people who are permanently moving off the grid so they don't have access.
Yeah, like all the people. Yeah, I've seen that. Like that's talking about curating your content stuff. Okay, because
Because it's too much. It's
we're
too much
running.
for the body to consume at one time, for the
Yeah,
mind to consume. And that's why people go an extra mile and they're like, I'm going off the grid, bro.
yeah. They're like, no, I'm not only putting down my phone. I'm just exiting the stage left in this
All the way left.
modern society. I'm
Okay,
gonna go
I'm
live in the
gone.
forest, or I'm gonna move to like Australia. I don't know, move
Right?
somewhere exotic.
Right.
Yeah, so I was gonna say to because we've been running pretty long, but really deep conversations going on here. Serious thing.
Yes.
We wanna so we said the obvious, which is what you're consuming. Even for yourself, community. Like if you
Yeah.
feel like, for me, if I feel like I don't really feel safe right now in the general world and mentality, like it's like an
Mhm.
attack
Uh-huh.
um on I'm gonna just say it, attack on minorities or less powerful group. Not let's say not minorities, but you know what I mean.
The everyday
Group.
man and woman.
Yes, right?
Yeah.
And so connecting with those, whether it's like you say you go to your church, or if you have a group or
Mhm.
a workout a gym group that you work out with, or if you're a part of any like cultural organizations, stuff like that, like lean on your external community
Mhm.
for like, you know, tapping in back into reality, right? And of
Yeah.
course we talk about um cultivating like so that's community and connection, but there's also your spiritual, like whether you do meditation or mindfulness or you pray about stuff, right?
Mhm.
And try and focus on the grander picture of things and focus on the things that you can be grateful for. And basically I put that in control the controllables in your life, right? There's this the things that happen in the world. At the end of the day, me as an individual, I can't really control that, but to your point, we can control our immediate space
That's
and
right.
physical space and mental place
That's
space.
right.
So I'll just leave it there from my point of
Yeah,
view.
and
Yeah.
so yeah, as I wrap this up, I do want to leave it on a positive note. And
Hmm.
I guess what overall I'm trying to say is, in order for you to stay focused in the world that we live in, at times you have to remove yourself from all that's around you. And sometimes I'm not saying that we should go and seclude ourselves, but what I am
No.
saying is, go outside and smell the fresh air. Move the screen from in front of your face.
Hmm.
Talk to
Yeah.
the people that are around you,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
Because that's your community. Those are the people who are really going to check for you, care for you, go on dates with you, walk with you, talk with you. So I guess in order to stay focused, sometimes you have to get back to the basics. You have to get
Yep.
back to just the
Yep.
basics of life.
Simplify it.
Simplify your life. It's as simple as that. I just don't look at my phone. When this
Mm.
stupid ass inauguration was going, I said, not today. I'm
Not
not
today.
doing this today. Okay? No, I'm sorry. And that sometimes is all it takes.
It
Is to
makes a
just say,
huge difference.
I'm not doing it today.
Hmm.
I'm gonna do something else. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I know some people, they might walk away, well, I'm gonna miss out and I'm not gonna know what's going on. But you'll know something else. You'll be doing something else. You'll be a part of something else. And that's okay. That's okay too. It's okay to miss out on the chaos. It's okay. It'll be there. It'll be there. It'll be right where you left it. Trust me. So take some time for self. In 2025, I think that we need to get back down to the basics in order for us to stay focused in the chaos that is the times we are living in. Yes, it is.
Hmm.
And with all of that said, we do hope that your hearts and minds were activated on this week's show. So whether you lead with your heart or your mind, please stay passionate and thoughtful. And we'll talk to y'all real soon. Bye.
Bye.